over. Welcome to the Sistah Girls Book Club podcast. I'm your host, Sheree, and we have someone I'm hyped to talk to this morning, Miss Shenequa Golding. How you doing?
Good morning, honey. Good morning. How are you? Thank you for having me.
I am excited, girl. We're going to get to it. But let me give you your introduction. You're a writer and editor whose work focuses on race, gender, and pop culture and entertainment. And now you're adding published author to the mini list of accomplishments with your new book, A Black Girl in the Middle, Essays on Allegedly Figuring it All Out. So congratulations. I have the book, and I'm telling you, I've been going through it, and I'm just like, girl. But I first met you, honestly, you didn't even know when I met you, was when you wrote your essay, A Black Girl, the essay Maintaining Professionalism in the Age of Black Death is ... a lot. And I remember that essay because I was like, this the same girl. Because I remember it being passed around. And I don't even know how I got it, but I just felt like everybody Black got it. So that was like one of those moments where it was just like, I don't know how we got this, but we are sharing this. And we're excited that somebody took a minute to like just say what we were all thinking and feeling, but we couldn't put it into words because I don't think anyone had given us permission to do it yet. And so we were just figuring it out. But when you said it in that essay, it was just like, that's exactly how we feel. Those are the words right there. So thank you for doing
Oh,
that.
thank
I
you.
think it
Thank
gave a
you.
lot of people a voice. They didn't know how to put their feelings. They knew they felt off, but they didn't know what it was. So on a scale of 1 to your favorite essay in your book, how are you feeling today?
I'm at a 8.
That's good. That's not bad at all.
I'm at
Okay.
an 8.
That's good. I like that. 8 is close to 10. So, how do you go from being an entertainment journalist to the woman who wrote the essay that spoke to Black people around the world? Maintaining professionalism in the age of Black death is a lot, to coming out with a book of essays. Like, how do we get there? It seems like boom, 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 but I'm sure it was more than those steps, and that was it.
My mother and I were having this conversation yesterday. You have to be like delusionally persistent. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? You have to really just like keep going, keep trying. I never thought I was going to become a published author because I knew what it took to be a published author. Like,
Mm-hmm.
to get an agent, you got to write a proposal. And I was like, oh, that's not going to happen to me. So,
Mm-hmm.
fun fact, I was going to self-publish a collection of essays like years ago because I was just like, oh, it's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And as I got older and I started paying more attention, and I'm being really honest, Trayvon Martin, that really switched something for me. Like
Mm-hmm.
in my mind, I was like, nah, there is no way this young boy wearing a hoodie is going to, you know what I mean? Like that really did something for me. And from that point on, that's when I started to switch my writing over to the injustices that I was seeing. So unfortunately, when George Floyd was murdered, that essay was easy for me to write because I had kind of already been like mentally prepping with Trayvon, Mike Brown, and the others. And but I did. But what's so funny is when I was writing and just learning about what was going on and seeing those stories, I was in mostly Black spaces, so I was able to express how I was feeling. I was working
Yeah.
at um, uh, Interactive One, Radio One. I was working at Vibe, so there wasn't a need to be professional in those spaces. But when George Floyd happened, I was working in a majority white space, so I knew how to identify my feelings, but I couldn't do so as freely. So when I wrote that story, I didn't think it was going to do what it did. I'm thankful that people felt the way that they did, but it was definitely a lot of emotional, mental, and editorial processing that happened prior to. Did I answer the question? Okay.
You answered the question. I'm actually, did I answer it? You answered it perfectly, actually.
Thank you.
Um, so one thing that I noticed about your book, it doesn't go in chronological order because it is an essay, right?
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
But it exposes a lot that you might not have just prepared for. Like, because you can post a tweet or post how you feel on Facebook or make an article or do a podcast or do an interview. And it's like you can kind of like place your words neatly together and you can go back and be like, maybe I don't want to say that next time. But once you publish a book and you see that it's out there, was it What was your process like going through each of those essays? Because they don't go in chronological order per se, but it is like it is capturing a big portion of your life, a snippet, but like in an essay format, right? And so I was just like looking over it. How do you sit down and prepare for something like that?
So I the way you said it is exactly how I should have thought about it, but I didn't.
Mhm.
I just wrote, you
Mhm.
know, and I am so fortunate because I had really good editors.
Mhm.
My editor Maya over at Beacon, and then my editor Jen Baker. They were they held my hand, but
Mhm.
they also like didn't hold my hand. So they like protected me as I was writing
Mhm.
because there were definitely in chapter 5, uh, Two Sugars with Hazelnut Cream. That is a very sanitized version of what took place. And my
Mhm.
editor, when I first sent her the first draft, she said, "Listen, I'm not in the business of putting pain on the page just to put pain on the page." And she
Mm.
was just like, "So I want you to read this again and decide if you want to put this out there." Because what I originally had, she was just like, "You're not gonna be able to take that back."
Yeah.
So, um, so I definitely had people who protected me, saw me, and was just like, "Baby girl, this is your first book, but you might want to reel some things in." But then I also had
Mhm.
editors, Jen and Maya, who like pushed me, like, "Okay, you're stopping short." Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense actually. And that's one of the things I noticed about your writing style. It's like, and I hope this doesn't offend you, it feels like Black Carrie Bradshaw meets like girl that everybody knows that sits at the lunch table. Like you don't know her, but you know her, and she's cool with
Oh,
us. And it's like, and then it's also kind of like a TV show. Every essay felt like an episode in a sitcom. Like a
oh,
black girl in her 30s, and it was like, this is the episode, and that's the episode. Because low key, when you read it, you're answering your own questions as you pose them. Did you realize you were doing that, or was that just something that you just write and it almost like, and it feels like a journal entry? It feels like I'm sitting in on something personal but inviting at the same time, right?
oh, well, I'm glad you, oh, that warms my heart. Thank you so much. Again, so the reason why it's even called Black Girl in the Middle, because
Mhm.
I'm looking back on a lot of events that happened in my
Mhm.
20s and early 30s, with the few that happened like pandemic. And then I'm trying to like sift through it, like, yo, like, what is this? Like, how? And then I have to give myself some resolution and the reader. Off topic, but not really. So I love true crime stories, right? I listen to true crime podcasts. It's horrible. I really shouldn't do it. But I can never listen to a podcast in which someone is missing. I need to know, did y'all
Interesting.
find did you find the
Mhm.
body? You found the body.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you find the guy? You find the guy, because it's always the husband. Did you find the husband who killed him? You know, for
Yeah.
me, like I can't ever listen to a story if the person is missing. I need a resolution. So for me, it was very important to give a resolution, even if the resolution was, yeah, I'm not even sure what's going on right now, but like that's what
Mhm.
it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get that. And I get it when I think about the how it flows throughout, I get it. It's like you still like try to give some sort of like, let's close this out in a nice way, or let's close this out in a way that feels like it's a resolution for right now. It might not be forever, but for right now, this is how I want to end it out so we can start something sort of new on the next page. So I get how your thought process behind that. So the one of the biggest things is you open it up with your name. Like that is like the black girl math. And I was like, the whole time I'm thinking, I'm like, when did you notice that your name held that much weight? Because it's not only just the weight of your name, but it's also like people giving you a whole identity behind it. They give you a stereotype of identity. They give you the way they give you a history, everything about it. But when did you know that your name held that much weight? And how do you feel about how did you move through that? Because
So
you don't just
growing up,
gain the confidence, maybe because it's like some people like it's I always say it's one thing when white people say something that's offensive, but it's a whole other thing when black people also do it. Because black people, do we have a thing when it comes to like, don't name your child a ghetto name? Like I just had a conversation with my best friend. A mutual friend was like, I'm not naming my child, I'm specifically naming my child something that sounds more palatable to white people because I want them to get the job or I want them to get the opportunity. And my stance has always been like, so you want them to waste car fare to go all the way down because a racist is a racist no matter what. So you
Mhm.
want them to waste the car pair, waste the outfit to go there now, sit in front of the person so they could like belittle you and deny you. At least if you gonna deny me, and I'm always like, you pushed out. I can't imagine me having a child with somebody and we're in love. Let's just give it that fantasy. And we're in love. And we push out a kid. And then my kid that I'm supposed to like raise and stuff is named because of somebody else, some outside force. And I always couldn't like come to grips with that. So I'm thinking of you the whole time. I'm like, that's a lot of weight to carry just because your name, just because your
Mhm,
name.
mhm. So growing up, I did not know that I had such a heavy name because I went to,
Mm-hmm.
thankfully, a diverse school. Black kids, black girls, black boys, Puerto Ricans, white boys. I had a Japanese kid in my class. I still remember his name to this day. So my name wasn't like, it wasn't an issue. It was only when I got to college in that opening scene that I realized that, wait,
Mm-hmm.
you've decided something about me.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that scene. And then in the scene in the coffee shop at the Starbucks, I remember that. And I was just like, wait, y'all really think that
Mm-hmm.
because my name is Shenequa that I'm less than? And
Mm-hmm.
I just and in the book, there are black people who say, "Oh yeah, you just change your name or go by your middle name," and I'm just like, "Nah, I'm not doing it." And they do
Mm-hmm.
give me an identity, and they do give me a whole backstory, and it's a whole Marvel universe when people meet
Mm-hmm.
me and they say and they realize that my name is Shaniqua. Or
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was dating this guy when I was living in Chicago, and I went to his house and I met his family, and he was like, "Hey, Auntie, this is Shaniqua." Girl, your name's not no damn Shaniqua. And I was like, okay, okay. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? So I've there's been enough moments throughout my life where people have let me know where their ignorance starts.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't I don't feel like it's my job to
Yeah.
educate you on that, like Shaniquas are just as elegant as
Mm-hmm.
Michelle's or Kathy's or
Mm-hmm.
Simone's. That's not my job. You know what I'm saying? And I'm also not someone who feels like you shouldn't get cussed out, because if you do get cussed out, oh, you damn sure Shaniqua now. No, no, I don't believe that
Mm-hmm.
either. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, my name, I wear it proudly, and yeah.
I get that. I like that too because I'm like, if you could say Harmony and all the characters in Star Wars, you okay. You can say my name.
Right.
So one of the chapters that I really like was Kimberly, like the best friend story.
Oh my God, everyone loves
I
that.
think because it's so relatable. I think that's what it is. It's so relatable, and we often don't get to dissect when relationships end. Like we never, we it kind of glaze over it. So when
Mhm.
it comes to friendships now, like what do you learn about a friendship breakup? What do you learn about yourself?
I have learned that I need to be a bit softer with my friends when they're going through their hard times.
Mm,
I need to learn, and I specify this toward the end of the book. Knowing what you should do and actually doing it, that is not
mhm,
as close as it seems. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we all know we should stop drinking iced coffee and just drink more water and we'll lose weight, that doesn't mean that we're going to immediately stop doing it. And I
mhm,
do need to be kinder and offer more grace with friends who are going through hard times. I will say that. But at the same time, Cherie, I'm not like, if you got a book in your nose, I'm gonna tell you, you got a book in your nose.
yeah,
You see what I'm saying? Like,
it's
if you looking for the friend who's going to look you in your face, see that booger, and not tell you it's, I'm not. That's not me.
mhm.
Like, how
Check
I
yourself.
operate is I love you, so I'm gonna tell you, I love you. He's not what's up. I love you. No. Okay. You want to be with homeboy? Go ahead.
Yeah. I I I feel like I'm that way too. I feel like now I'm trying to be softer in my approach because I feel like everybody's going through something. I try to give the grace. But I do feel like that's going to be a buzzword this year, like probably 2025. The grace, we going it goes to the thing. One of the things that you said was there's no emotional cemetery for dead friendships, and I wonder if in this society, why do you think it's more acceptable to mourn an intimate relationship than a friendship? Like you could legit have been friends with somebody since you were 7, and you're like 39 now, and you have a really fallen out, and like it would be less acceptable for you to come into work crying or bawling your eyes out versus you just like dating a guy for 3 months and then y'all don't work out. And then people be like, oh my God, like I can't believe, like, if it's a friendship breakup, they don't expect you to even have like a real emotion behind it.
Mhm.
So I
I want
think
to
that's
say,
another reason why that was good about the you writing that chapter, because it was like, yo, this is how we feel, y'all.
mhm. I think it's because we as a society are so emotionally limited in language and in ourselves that we really believe romantic intimacy is the pinnacle of life's joys. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that we have the capacity to admit the vulnerability and weaknesses that come with a friendship failing. You know what I'm saying? Like people who get divorced, they feel like, I failed. And it's just like, I don't know if you feel like that or should feel like that, but that idea is never transferred over into friendships. Um, and it's hard and it's challenging, you know. I wrote about Kimberly while also going through another friendship breakup with someone that I cared deeply about. You know what I mean? And I'm still dealing with that now. So maybe I'm the drama. Um,
Yeah.
but it's really challenging. It's not easy.
So I wanted to know if you think that Black women take losing friendships harder because of how much we rely on each other and how much we need each other, and like we go above and beyond. So it's like when we lose a friend, it's like, girl, like it's serious.
Um, Black women take care of Black women because Black women are expected to take care of the world. So when we lose a friend, it's almost like losing a limb sometimes. Now, this is how it feels when you lose a good friend. Let me tell
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
let me tell you the amount of times I've experienced betrayal, I relish in the things I didn't say.
Mm,
So I'll say
wow.
that. So what I'm talking about in regards to Kimberly, and I don't know if she was a bad friend per se, but how do you feel about the reason why she decided to end the friendship? Are you team Kimberly or are you team?
I'm team too much. Like I felt like it was a lot. Like that was a lot of. I felt like it could have been a normal conversation. Like when she felt like she was wronged, I felt like she went above and beyond to like hurt you. And that's
Mhm,
why I always get upset. Like when people have these friend issues, or if I'm talking to a person and they have a falling out with a friend, it's like if I'm your friend or your sister or somebody that you deem like that, I've been in your house in your refrigerator. I know when you cried and was at the hospital. Why would you want to hurt me? Like you wanted to jab it, like, and then twist the knife. It's like we couldn't have a conversation, like, and I think that's what always like is unsettling to me in any
mhm,
type of friend breakup. Because I'm looking, if I'm giving advice to a friend who's in a situation with a friend, I'm like trying to figure out, did they go too far? Can we like at least come back to the table? Because if you lead with trying to hurt me, I think that's my issue. And I felt like when she wild out on you. It was just like, oh, you led with trying to embarrass me, humiliate me, and hurt me. And then when
mhm,
I followed up, because you sent her an email that was nice, it was kind of like, why did you like have to take it there? It was kind of like, well, if you think I'm gonna feel bad, then think again. Peace. And I'm like, well,
oh,
it was like, girl, here I am like relaxing myself now to kind of like, you know, give it a minute. And you gonna just be like, oh well, because I feel justified in whatever it is, like in my rightness. And it's like, if you love me like a sister, does it matter if you were right? Can we just bring it to the table? Why did it have especially when you came back? Because I was like, girl, you was good for me. Once you would have wild out on me, I'm a Capricorn. I don't like to be all of that. Like that's too much. When I know it's like I know you and you know me. You know I wouldn't do like. Why? So I'm looking for how you tried to hurt me.
So I think you confused two chapters. Kimberly is about her getting mad at me because I dated her ex boyfriend's roommate,
Oh, yeah. I'm talking
and
about
we're
the
talking about the chapter on anger. Yeah.
yes, the one on anger. Yeah.
Okay.
But
But
that one,
yes, yeah. So so the one on anger,
mhm.
she did. It's. I'm so glad you said that because disrespect is a choice,
Yeah.
and it's a choice, and it's also like it's actually like a heavy choice because if you think about how much disrespect weighs on you before you throw it on somebody, you could
Mhm.
easily just be like, no, thank you, as opposed
Yeah.
to you so
Yeah.
so in regards to anger, in regards to sis over here, I feel like there might have been animosity brewing in her that I didn't pick up on that she never told me about.
Yeah, 'cause it was like she was too mad. Like, you
Yeah.
were too mad.
Yes, too mad over here. But may God continue to bless her. In
With
regards,
Kimberly, now I give you my opinion now on Kimberly now that I got it. So with Kimberly, I think I don't know. I feel like again, it was just like too much. I feel like y'all could have had a conversation. It didn't feel like the ultimate betrayal. It was like we don't even. That's like if I meet anybody through a person. Now I'm just supposed to hate the person because y'all are not. You know what I mean? It just seems too trivial to lose a whole friendship over. Like I could see you maybe feeling some type of way, or maybe just not liking it, or maybe I don't know. But I still feel like it wasn't that heavy. Like it wasn't that weighty. Like it could have been
so
resolved better.
so I also agree. And I think now that we're talking this out, then maybe I need to work on my discernment when it comes to friends. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I need to
Yeah,
work on my discernment when it comes to that.
yeah.
But at the same time, I can tell you those two situations, I feel much better that they're not in my life.
I can, yeah, because it seemed like that would. I think what I think about friendships like those two that you gave in the book, it would always be something. Like, and I think that's the issue I'm always having. It's like, okay, if I walk on eggshells about this, what's gonna be the next thing? It's like I'm waiting for the next thing to happen, and it's like we all have friendships like that because like either they're too sensitive in like how we might vibe out. You might catch attitude quicker than I am or I do, or now I have to figure out like, okay, is she gonna like catch an attitude, and what does that look like? Are you
Hmm.
gonna like not speak to me for a couple of days? Or what are you gonna do to like showcase that you're upset outside of just having a conversation with me? And I'm like,
Those
in that aspect, yeah, it's too much.
those two girls, they've never met each other. Kimberly
Mhm.
was like high school, a little bit of college. This one was outside of college and all that jazz. The one commonality between those two girls is that they expected you to adhere to their definition of friendship.
Yeah.
And
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 that's like,
there was no nothing. It was I know what it is. This is what it is, and yeah, so that's what that is. But may God
yeah.
bless them both.
But you in that you discovered your brand of friendship, and I like that because I'm like I've never heard that before. When somebody say, "Yeah, I have a brand of friendship," and how did you identify that you had a brand of friendship, and then how did it help or hurt you? Because your brand, now that you know that you have a brand, it's like, let me go back and look at all my friendships. Do these match up? Are these actually going to work itself out? Now that I know the type of friend that I am and that I can be.
So my brand of friendship, I'm not going to go into too much detail because I want people to buy the book, but
Hmm.
I need you to have some kind of foundation. I need you to
Yeah.
have a little bit of something to work with. You know what I'm saying? I also do, I cannot, I cannot be friends with male centered women because
Wow.
male centered women, I will say that I have always, before I even had the language for it, Cherie, before I had the
Hmm.
language, I've always felt like, like your main goal is to go find him and you just kind of check in with us.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? And listen, everybody act brand new when they get their man. And I get that.
Hmm.
Ow, you got your man, you out here, cool. But like male centered women, they use the love that you pour into them to energize them again to go find their man.
Hmm.
I can't do male centered women. That's just not something I'm interested in. I need you to have some kind of common sense about yourself. I need you to have some kind of problem solving abilities about yourself. I have unfortunately been called the strong friend. I don't wish that on anyone, because the strong friend never gets an apology. The strong friend, people are attracted to you because of your strength, and then they resent you
Mhm.
because of your strength.
That's very true.
A
Wow.
strong friend never gets an apology. But the strong friend does write a book.
Very true. They come out on the other side. They are always
Yeah.
going to be okay, even though
Right.
they got to go through some things. So you talked about a lot about your intimate relationships. Like, you got Redacted. We have September Kiss. We got Two Sugars with hazelnut cream. And I feel like there was just like, especially with Redacted, you purposely left his name out, right? And so in a world where Risa Tisas exists, where you can like get picked up even more when you tell every single detail, why was it important for you to leave his name out but still tell your part of the story?
Well, legal reasons. That's number one.
Yeah.
But number two, it's just like I don't. I think the choice to call him redacted is powerful in itself. To reduce him and his actions to this redacted, um, and also, like I said in the chapter, I'm not trying to really give his ashy ass that much energy, even though he changed me so much.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So my next question is, in the movie For Colored Girls, the Tyler Perry one, Janet Jackson's character specifically is upset because the betrayal of her husband, right? But she makes it a point that she is upset with him, but she's very upset at herself because she chose him. So
Mhm.
in your book, and in your life, did you ever get down on yourself because you chose him? And how
Absolutely.
did you pass that?
Oh, listen to me. I I I did I didn't I don't know if I've ever gotten past it, because like this was a choice that I made, and I look back on it, and it's just some I saw this reel on Instagram, and this woman said, I'd rather be the girl who's like, oh my God, why is she single, than be the girl that's like, why is she with him? I
Mm,
was, why is she with him? And I look back on how like being with him, I played myself.
mm,
Like I played myself on every angle. But the thing about it is like I'm not out here trying to be manipulative. Like
mhm.
I'm not out here trying to get over on people. So I don't even know what that looks like if it's happening until it already happens. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get you. So like because you're not looking for it when it shows up, it's like, well, dang, because I'm not thinking about that. It's almost like when somebody's cheating on somebody, always accusing the person who's not cheating because they're doing it. So it's like I'm not looking for that because I don't operate that way. So it's like
I
in my face, and it's like, oh, okay, this is what we're
right.
dealing with.
So it took me a very long time. It took me, I will say, homegirl who the email homegirl, she said, he lied to you. He
Mhm,
absolutely lied to you. And you should not feel any shame for being lied to. You know
mhm.
what I mean? But in this society, women are always told that you have to be smarter than the tricks these men willfully play.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. So one chapter of that to me was just like it was deep, and I was just like, wow, it's Two Sugars with hazelnut cream,
Mhm.
and the title, I'm thinking it's about to be real light. I don't know, it felt very fluffy, like we about to get like a nice little walk, and I was like, no, that's not what this is. So we are not going there. We're going to hell. Okay, one way ticket. But the entire chapter reminded me of like now. I don't know if you've been on TikTok, but it's like the viral. If you ask the girl, would she choose a bear or the man, and she
Oh, I'm
always
always
chooses.
choosing the bear.
Yeah, she chooses the bear, and like soon as I saw like coffee versus, I was like, yeah, girl, this is one of those moments.
Yeah.
So this was a heavy chapter because it deals with assault. So how did you feel about putting your story out there? Number one, for like people, because now people are you're gonna be able to read the comment section, put it like that, and there's gonna be able to have men involved in the comment section, right? And so it's one thing when you have a safe space with women and it's guarded because we understand each other, but it's another thing when you open up that conversation to people who will always be like, well, what did you do? Or what you could have done more of or less of. And they'll make the victim sometimes be like, you have to now defend yourself. And it's like, but I'm the victim. And so have you thought about what that looks like? And then also, this might be a little too overstepping if you feel like, how is your mom? Because I felt like you didn't say that you didn't tell your mom initially. So how is your mom when she found that out?
Um, so I did not think about the reactions that I will get. I did not
Mm-hmm.
think about the comment section. Again, everything that you're saying that I should have thought about, I did not. I just wrote. I just wrote. Um, so that's number one. I put this is gonna sound crazy, but that might have been one of the easiest chapters for me to write about
Mm-hmm.
because I think in order for me to emotionally survive, I have just separated myself from it
Mm-hmm.
in a psychological way. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
I wrote about it as if that did not happen to
Like
me.
as if you were an observer versus being actual in the
Yes.
situation.
Yes. I think that's how I'm able to like survive it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we will see how my mom feels about it. We will
Mm-hmm.
see. We will
Yeah.
see. I'm really worried about how my brother's gonna feel about it. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. I am not the only woman who has been assaulted.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be saying something that a lot of women are going to be experiencing. I'll tell you this. I didn't
Mhm.
know that a man not putting on the condom was assault.
Yeah,
I
definitely
didn't
is.
know.
I
I
think
knew
we all learned late. I don't think we all just knew that initially.
you know what I mean? Like I knew I did not like it. I knew I felt deceived. I knew I felt tricked, but I did not know feeling deceived and not liking it and feeling tricked was illegal. Does that
Mm-hmm.
make sense? Like I just like
Yeah.
I can't go into
Yeah.
a police station and say this guy hurt my feelings, and I did not know that because we did not have the language
Mm-hmm.
for stealthing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And in the book, I talk about how you don't know what I got. All you
Yeah.
see is a cute face. You don't
Yeah.
know. You don't know if you don't know if I'm out here just hiding a flare up. You don't
Mm-hmm.
know if I'm out here and that HIV test came back reactive. You don't know that. You did
Mm-hmm.
what you wanted to do with my body because society encourages that.
Yeah. And it says that you have the power so you can make the decision for everybody, even
Yeah.
if it's gonna harm you. And I thought that was very good that you observed that. And I was like, thank you. Like, how is it possible that you feel comfortable? You say you're clean, but how do you know she's clean? Like, how
Right.
do you know?
How do you
How
know
do you
that? How do you
know?
know? You don't know.
Like,
And
I'm like,
yeah,
how? And why do you feel so comfortable doing this?
yeah.
Um, so I always say that a person they die when once an assault happens. It's like the person that you were even a minute before that is no longer.
Mhm.
And I always, I'm not trying to liken it or compare it to, but what I'm trying to say is that when people close to me die, I always go looking for who I was before. Like I just want to get back to my normal self. I just want to do the things that I feel normal. So I'm trying to give the feeling of like trying to search for yourself. So after the assault, did you ever go looking for the old Shaniqua, or did you make peace with who you have become after? And what did that look like?
I've never looked for the old Shaniqua.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, that's really unfortunate because the old Shaniqua was a lot softer
Mm-hmm.
and lighter.
Mm-hmm.
But this Shaniqua, she's more cautious, she's smarter,
Mm-hmm.
and this Shaniqua like this Shaniqua just knows that you have no problem destroying you. So you'll have no issue destroying me.
Yeah, I get that. It's like you're very guarded, and I totally understand.
Very.
So, do you because the entire time that I was reading, like it was detailed, and I was just like, because you get from one point A to point B to point C, and I was just like, but the entire time I was like, I really was just like, this is my homegirl. Like, how could you do this to her? Because I was like, this is somebody's child. This is
Mhm.
somebody's daughter. Like she has a nickname. Like, you know what I mean? She got a favorite thing. She got this is a person. Like, how do you violate? And then the quickness that you violate them, it's like you've now changed my life forever. Right. So if you can, do you remember how you mentally got from the couch, the car to the house? Like how did you mentally like get through the whole thing?
So in regard to the first sexual assault, homeboy dropped me home. He gave
Yeah, I
me a ride.
remember that. But I'm talking about even mentally saying, I got to get up off this couch. I have to now put myself together and you got to walk out the door. You got to go
Right.
outside. Like, how did you get instead of like having
See,
like that emotional, visceral
you
reaction?
know what it is? I just think that when it happened, I didn't even register it as assault at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like as it was happening, I didn't. It was only later that I
Mm-hmm.
registered it as assault. The same with the stealth thing. I know it's crazy to think, but it's just like if someone has a gun and they're demanding money from you, you're being robbed, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't know that I was being robbed. Does that I know
Yeah.
that sounds crazy, but that's really what it was.
No, it actually makes sense because you said this in the book, and that this was like the biggest, like I mean, the aha moment of all aha moments. And you say it later on. You was just like, I wish men knew that they could successfully get to manhood without disrespecting or hurting women in the process. And I was like, that's what it is. It's like y'all feel like this is a badge of honor. You feel like this is a rite of passage. You feel like this is gonna give you a notch up on your belt. Like you don't need to harm me in
Yes.
order for you to get to your maximum level or to get a pound
Yes.
from your friend. And I
Correct.
felt like that was a thing that I noticed about you, like in these essays specifically, and just having friends and being a woman myself. It's like, dang, we got to go through like harm's way to like just find the good guy, and sometimes the good guy is not even the good guy. So it's just like when I think about you even saying that you had to guard yourself, how do you move in relationships now, knowing all that you know? Is like you playing with a full deck now. Before you might have had like maybe
Mm.
more optimism and what it was like, I know what's up. But how do you like leave room for love and like fantasy and like exploration and all of that stuff when these things have happened to you? How do you move now?
I just want to say that these questions are it. I just want to say that. I just want to start there. Okay, let's just give that some praise. Um, but I'm moving with the full deck now. So as I stated in the book, I'm remaining abstinent. I'm not
Hmm.
having sex until I'm married. That this is my choice. This is my sexual decision. So that's number
Hmm.
one. But let me tell you what I've learned. Like when you like celibacy, abstinence, that's a practice, and men will find something else to take.
Mm.
They will take your time. They will accept
Mhm,
your emotional labor. They will find something else to take. All right. So
mhm,
that's number one. Number two, um, I allow I allow room for fantasy after I've been shown that you are a safe place.
yeah, I
And
get
I
that.
and I've also gotten to a space where like I am okay with being like a table of one. I'm all
Mhm,
right with that. Like I am all right with that. And this is gonna sound crazy, but like loneliness is lonely, but loneliness for me is safer. And again, the bear. I will choose the bear because the creativity of men and that creativity being fueled by their deceit,
mhm.
you can't account for that. So I'm all right for right now.
Yeah. But you know what? It's like because when you were saying that, I'm like, I get that. But then I think of your cousin and her husband, Winston. It was like Winston was like, there you go, he saved the day for everybody. And so it was just one of those things where you like, I'm excited about Winston. It's like I need your cousin's prayer. Tara, is her name Tara.
Tara, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
need Tara prayer because CC, like Super C girl, Sierra, I might need this prayer right here.
Right, right.
But so you get to see like, and I thought that was like a great observation. It was just like, you started to look at them as a couple because you could have just kind of like bypassed them and just been like, oh, those are my family. But you started to see how they operate as a couple. It was like, okay, healthy 50s 50 balance. This relationship can exist. Like even the idea that you could say you notice that, I would make a guy's plate. I would like, you know, do the laundry if he did. Cause it's like when I feel safe and when I know it's going to be reciprocated, when I have these things being met, like I now feel safe to be more free, right?
Mhm,
So do
mhm,
you
mhm.
think that for you now, even with just you saying at a table for one and you saying that you will wait until marriage, do you think that's still something that you're optimistic about?
Marriage?
No, yeah, marriage and having a partnership that's like healthy partnership.
Am I optimistic about it?
Yeah.
No,
Look
no,
at me, I'm like, Winston was the one that was giving us all hope.
no, no. I'm okay though. Like right now, this moment, no, I'm not optimistic about it.
Hmm.
I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? Because no, I'm good. I'm all right. Now listen. I am all about God proving me wrong. But right
Yeah,
now, I'm all right. I'm chilling.
I got you. I got you. Um, and so the biggest man in your life is your dad, right? So I feel
Mhm.
like that was like we get all these relationships. Then it's the relationship that they always say that shapes every relationship that we have with every man, and all of that other good stuff. So I was like writing the chapter and seeing how the relationship plays out when you wrote it yourself, not even as the reader. How did that feel? Did it feel liberating? Did it feel freeing, or did it feel like, well, dang, that was hard? Or like, did how did you look at that when it was done? Once it was done.
When I wrote that chapter, did I write that chapter earlier? I wrote that chapter earlier in the process.
Hmm.
Um, and I have accepted my father's intentional absence.
Hmm.
I have accepted his intentional decision to not be here. And
Hmm.
it's not nice because I didn't do anything for him to not show up.
Hmm.
But when I wrote that chapter, I also felt like I regained a bit of power back because I'm not like the little girl anymore waiting for him. I'm now the grown woman deciding that I'm not going to wait. And if
Yeah.
you remember at the end of the chapter, I shout out a lot of my family who has
Yeah.
been, you know what
Your
I'm saying?
village, like the people, your aunties, your mom, like every your
You know what
grandmother.
I mean? I,
Yeah.
I shout out my family a lot because if you're fortunate enough to have people,
Hmm.
you hopefully should not concern yourself with who isn't there. And
Hmm.
it's really unfortunate that I don't have a relationship with him, but I also kind of feel like if I did have a relationship with him, I might not be as strong and as determined as I am now.
Really? That's
Hmm.
interesting. So, and you might have answered this, but I still think there's some wiggle room here. What does a child and an adult lose when they realize that they have been kind of left behind by a parent? Like, what do
Oh, what
you,
does a child lose when they realize they have been left behind by a parent?
and an
Confidence.
adult? Really, confidence. Yeah.
Confidence.
Hmm.
Confidence. That's what they lose. They lose a lot of confidence. Um, and they lose a lot of safety and foundation. But what they do get, they become scrappy and they become maybe a bit stronger and persistent. At least that's what I did.
Yeah, I can see that. And I was just like, because I was wondering, I'm like, well, what do, when you think about it, it's like people always talk about, well, I gained this and I gained that. But I'm like, what do you lose? It's something that makes you different,
Hmm.
especially growing up, because you go through so many big life movements between teenage years to young adult to like, when you think about walking down the aisle on my wedding day, like, it's so many of those moments that we fantasize about, even with the parent present or absent, we still have the same fantasies.
Hmm.
Um, so I always wonder, like, what is that, how does that play out? One of my favorite, which is crazy because you probably ain't even thinking about this, was Jagged Little Pill. That
Anger.
Yeah,
Ah,
the anger. Even when it was like the communication style, when you introduced Oprah and Iyanla, I was like, this is my friend in real life because I watched that episode. That was my episode because I too had never seen
I
two
too.
adult people come and sit down and have two very different recollections of a situation. and accept it as both are gonna just stand still. But when Oprah said, I don't
I
accept
will
that,
not accept that.
I said, wait, what?
You can do that?
I was like, wait, this is not how it's supposed to go. She's telling you you done wronged her, girl. You got to sit in that. You can't like have an objection. But she said it so like cool. I was like, did I just hear what I thought? Like, I don't accept that. And I was like, you're right. I don't just because you feel wronged, it doesn't mean that that's actually how it went down for me. But when she said it, it was like the lights came on somewhere in my brain that was the dark. Because it always seemed like if a person says, you know what, Shenequa, you wronged me. You did this, and I'm telling you why I'm mad. You just kind of got to like eat that. Whatever it is, you got to just be like, all right, I'm sorry. I'm not sure it happened like that, but I'm sorry, girl, because obviously you're upset. But when she said, I do not accept that, and she was like standing on business, she did not like cave because Iyanla gave pushback. She wasn't just like, okay, Oprah. She was like, no, we're going to have this. And she was like, okay, we can have it to talk out. But it was calm. It was respectful. It didn't look like it required that much labor. It was a lot of words, but it didn't feel like anybody lost like hair on their head. No edges were snatched out. No blood pressure was moved up. But they were able to communicate effectively how they felt. And I remember you said, I've never seen it. And I was like, girl, me either. And
Mhm.
so I was just like, why do you think, especially after noticing, I feel like you observe a lot because even the way you were able to like describe things or liken things to other things, you observe a lot and you listen. And it's like, why do you think people, especially Black people, when I say people, I'm always talking about Black people, why don't we know how to effectively communicate? And the only way we can communicate like that hurt my feelings is to like be the most nasty or the most angry or take out the most pain on the other person. It's like we're not taught at a very young age to like, it's like we get from a child and they'll tell you to play nice, be good to others. They tell you all the great things. And then for some reason, like we just lose all of that. And it's like, be the most vicious you can be. And it's like, how do we lose that? And why is it not something that we are trying to actively regain? Because even with social media, we're just not talking to each other. We're attacking each other. It's like we're fighting. It's like the girls are fighting. It's like we're just it's like we're just fighting, right? And it's like nobody wants to just relax and just have a conversation. So why do you think that is? I'm curious.
So, I think the reason why people don't want to communicate in a healthy way is because people don't, how do I say this? Okay, so remember when I told you I was mourning the loss of a friendship while writing
Mhm.
Kimberly?
Yeah.
Something that I learned in the friendship that I was mourning, this has involved a man, is that people don't want to be loved, they want to be right.
Mm.
And when you are right, you have the ability to condescend. I'm right. So, Cherie, I don't know what to tell you because this is just what it is. And when I'm right,
Mhm.
I can employ disrespect because not
Mhm.
only do I need you to know that I'm right, I also need you to know how wrong you are. And
Yeah.
being wrong comes with being shamed. So I'm going to disrespect you and shame you at the same time. That stance usually applies from the smallest of us, from the puniest of us, from the weakest of us. Oprah, in that moment, with her good, trimmed, deep conditioned hair, Oprah was just like, I won't accept that. Because Oprah, she knows she's 10 foot tall. For all of her flaws, Oprah is 10 foot tall. And
Mhm.
Iyanla was not going to make her come down to no 5 foot nothing. That's number
Mhm.
one. Number two, your recollection of a thing does not mean it happened because your recollection of that thing is also clouded by your insecurities and your
Mhm.
triggers.
Mhm.
Number three, I don't have a desire to hurt people. I don't have a desire to inflict pain on people. I'm not out here like, oh, Cherie better know who she. That's never my
Mhm.
energy.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? People
Yeah.
always want to appear bigger because they feel smaller.
Mhm.
I don't, and this might sound real arrogant. I don't feel small.
Yeah.
I don't feel small. I don't feel at a disadvantage. I don't feel at a loss. I don't feel those things. So I don't need to be this melanin deficient chihuahua barking at Cherie. all the time. Like, for
Mhm.
what? I don't need to do
Mhm.
that. And people who always need to be aggressive and mean, you're so small, you're so tiny. That, and people who always need to be right. The way I'm
Yeah.
coming for Virgos right now, I'm sorry. But like, if people who always need to be right, people who
Mhm.
always are so quick to correct, okay,
Mhm.
that's just not something that I need to do. And when I saw Oprah and Liana do that, I just said, OMG.
Mhm.
I did not know it was possible. But the only reason why that was possible is because both of those women were not interested in fighting.
Mhm.
That can
Yeah.
only work if you're dealing with someone who is interested in not fighting.
Mhm.
In the email from chapter 9, homegirl, she
Yeah.
wanted to be that ugly.
Yeah. And she even stated, like, if you think what you saying is gonna make me say sorry, basically, it's like, girl, you got another thing coming. Like, that's not about to happen. So bye. I was just like, dang. So that's like, how do you even, when people, it's like you don't even know sometimes how people feel about you until you say no. Because I always feel like that's once you say no, once you tell them that you can't do something or you can't show up, then that's when like that whole how bad can you, how low can you go? How like how far are we
How
gonna take
ugly
this?
can you be? And
Hell.
and and the way, where I'm at right now, I'm going to be 40 in a year. I'm not giving up my beauty for anybody.
I know that's gonna be on a t-shirt or something or
I'm
waiting.
not giving up my beauty for anybody.
Feel that. Like I ain't getting the gray hair, extra
I'm not
wrinkles.
giving up my beauty for anybody. Go be ugly someplace else, sis.
Yeah, I love that. And
I wrote a
so at
book.
the basically a whole book that had me up here highlighting and all I'm like blue and I'm like really going through it because I'm like you dropped so many gems. Like you really did. And I think um when you closed out the book, because you was just basically it closed out with the pandemic and you telling all the things that you learned and the gems that you dropped. And it felt like, I promise you, I'm not being dramatic. It felt like, feel the rain on your skin.
Yes.
Like I was supposed to, I'm like, where is the song? Play the song, y'all. Y'all know the song. The rest is still unwritten. I'm telling you, you got to add that somewhere because I'm like, it feels
Yes.
like that. It was a new beginning. Like you were just like, this is like a new A crack, a whole thing. So where are you at now with it? Like now that, because that was then, but even though it's new now, but that's still like a recollection of events that had happened. So how are
Mhm.
you now with it, knowing that you have this book coming out and like how are you like emotionally, spiritually, everything,
Oh,
all the
well,
lead?
spiritually, I am making sure that I read my Bible as often as I can. I
Hmm.
am trying to stay as close to Jehovah God as possible because that is so very, very important to me.
Hmm.
Secondly, emotionally, I am terrified, Cherie. I'm very,
Really?
very, yes, I'm scared.
I just want to
You
give you a hug, and you don't even know me. I'm like, I want to give you a hug. You
No,
from
but
New York?
I'm so scared because people are going to read the book, and like you said, I was very honest about certain things, and the comment section is going to be what it is. The think piece Twitter might just feel like I didn't go deep enough. The haters are always going to have something to say, and I'm just very scared about that. But
Mhm,
I did the very best I could, and I'm going to
mhm,
stand on that. Um, I just Success for me with this book would be Black girls reading it and feeling
mhm,
seen,
mhm,
non-Black people reading it and understanding how nuanced Black women can be.
mhm,
And I want someone reading my book to feel the same joy and contentment I feel when I read books. Sometimes it's not always a sunny day. Sometimes it's a little cloudy outside. I want you to read my book, have a cup of coffee, drink some wine, and just feel it's cloudy, but it's all right. That's like
mhm.
that feeling. That's what I
Yeah,
want.
yeah.
Um, and we'll see. We'll see.
Well, my opinion might be worth $3.06, and they may laugh because they did not do their math. But I do believe that this book, and I'm not lying to you. I'm not trying to give it because I read a lot of books, right? And we have to choose the best ones that we're gonna get. I remember getting this book and I read the first chapter. I said, "Oh, she's my friend. Like I know her. Like I know Shaniqua. Like I probably met her before. Like I know Shaniqua. This is my homegirl." And then as you
Yes.
keep reading, I felt seen. I felt I don't. It was the New York swag. It was the thing that you like the way you detail. Even the when you wanted to change your phone number, even if it was traumatic, that was still a moment. I was like that because when you said five, I was like, girl, we can't do 516. We can do
No.
we can do that. I was like, we can do a lot. No. So even just that normalizing, it's so many references. I was just on the phone with my good friend, she's in LA, but she's from the Bronx and I'm from Brooklyn. And I'm like, you in Queens and stuff. I'm like, I'm gonna send you this book because you're gonna like it. You're gonna love it. And it's something in here for everybody. And that's why I kept saying it felt like a sitcom because every essay, you don't have to read it in order. You don't have to like hurry up and rush through it. You could pick it up at your leisure. You could read what's some things you're gonna pick up more than others, right? Some things you're going to
Mhm.
feel more intense than others. Some things you're going to be like it was me, and some things you're going to be observer. I think other Black girls going to be able to see other Black girls in this in the
Mhm.
same book. Like in the same book, I'm gonna be able to meet a couple. I'm not saying that you had a personality disorder, but I'm just saying you're gonna be able to meet more than one girl. And I think that the great thing about this, I can see your journey from girlhood to womanhood to like in just different ways, different forms of storytelling, from the daddy issues to the dating to like growing up with your even talking about how you watching cartoon. I was Gargoyles is my show growing up. Like I was like, girl. So I was like, she like even that, like just it's so many Black girl moments that we can take from it and hold on to it and like be held up in light. So I really when you say you're afraid, like I promise you don't have anything to fear. Like I put money on that, like mad bread. This is I would bet, like somebody say, well, we had to bet. I bet on this book. And I don't say that often because you never know. But this is it. Like for real, for real. And I'm from Brooklyn. East New York to be exact. I have no reason to gas you. Like none whatsoever. This is like this is phenomenal. And it reads so well. I love the cadence. And I think I said that to you on like on our social media. I was like, yo, the way you describe things and liking things to each other and
Oh
put
yeah,
things
yesterday
together.
when I was like promoting a book, it's
Yeah,
like cooking a cactus. Yeah.
yeah. But I'm like, you do that so well, especially and you make things that are hard. We were able to get through it. And James Baldwin said something like that. We have to make the hard things, keep them serious. So you kept them serious, but we also were able to get the lightheartedness of you and your heart and who you are, your genuine spirit. And even when you were not right, like you were able to point that out. And I love that how you kind of like you walked your way through some things. Like you were like, okay, and I know I did this, but then this happened and this happened. So even like each chapter, and I don't want to belabor this, but please don't be afraid
Oh,
because you did your thing.
oh,
You really did. You really, really did.
I
And
appreciate it.
I want once this get option, just let me be a like little person that walking up the block. I
I
want an
got
extra
you. I got
extra
you. I
role.
got you, Cherie. I got
The
you.
first one who said this could definitely be a sitcom or miniseries. It's gonna go further than this right here. It's gonna move further than that. It's too relatable. So these are the last quick set of questions before I let you go. Okay, and you got to answer it like on the fly. Writing in the day or night? It's quick.
Ah, writing at writing early in the morning. Early in the morning.
Okay. So working from home or going into the office?
Oh, absolutely working from home.
Okay. Writing a book or writing an article?
writing writing an article. All right.
Okay. Brooklyn or Queens?
Now, Cherie. Now, Cherie. You know it's Queens. You know it's Queens.
Queens get the money. I'm gonna let y'all have that one. Queens
Funny,
get
you
the
know.
money. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Paperback or hardcover?
Hardcover.
Girlfriends or insecure?
Insecure.
Okay. Malcolm X or Martin Luther King Jr.?
Malcolm.
Okay. And is it Uchi Wally or is it one mic?
One mic.
Okay. Like you just like, girl, you
I'm sorry, honey.
And who is Shenequa Golding?
Oh man, Shenequa Golding is a curious woman,
Mhm.
a loving woman, an imperfect woman, a private woman,
Mhm.
but a woman who still has a window of her heart open. And if
Mm.
I choose to let you in, you will never go cold.
Wow. That's a whole poem, a whole bar. I like that. Tell the people where they can find you. This has been great. Like I feel full just from talking to you.
Oh,
So where can
me
people find
too. Me too. So Shaniqua Golden, you can find me on Threads, Twitter, and Instagram at Golding Girl 617, Golding Girl 617. June 17th is the 617. I'm not from Boston. And you can buy A Black Girl in the Middle wherever you buy books.
Thank you. So this was great. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.